Okay. Dear Krishna Goswami. Here we go. Message out. Let's check to see if the streaming service is working. It appears to be working. Wait a second. Okay, I gotta set this up a little differently. You speaker. There we go. I understand. Let me just check. Check a little bit. Let's see. Okay. I understand. Whoops. Let me turn this off. It's working fine now. Okay. Good to see everybody. We're going to chant as we do before Janmashtami. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana. 2 days till Janmashtami. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavana, Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Shaima Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Kallanejam Guna Jaya Jaya Madhava Keshigata Mansivata Vatashakana Jakasama Lila Koilo Shinanga Jaya Gopaka Chidamadi Jaya Jaya Dinamvatsa Jaya Vishwanu Jaya Kirtida Sundari Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Abhira Gare Jaya Jaya Gopishvara Vrindavana Maja Jaya Jaya Krishna Sakavati Dvi Jaya Rama Gata Jaya Rohini Nandana Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Chaitanya Jaya Dvi Shapati Jaya Pailo Govinda Charan Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shalom Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Saru Manora Jaya 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 Rasa Sabarasa Sara Arakiya Bhavaya Brajate Java Shri Jana Vama Korea Smaran Dina Krishna Dasako Hey Nama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada 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 Django Haribo Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Acharya Osateta Sitashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Hridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidway Gadadha Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuradam Ki Jai Jagadata Swami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shrimati Lasadevi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Budle Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamati Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivashesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. All right. So let's read the translation. All glories to Radha Krishna and the divine forest of Vrindavana. All glories to the three presiding deities of Vrindavana, Shri Govinda, Gopinathan, Madana Mohan. All glories to Shamakunda, Radhakund, Govardhan Hill, and the Yamuna River, Kalindi. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavana. All glories to Keshigat, the Vamsivat tree, and the 12 forests of Braja. At these places, the son of Nanda, Shri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys headed by Sridama. All glories to the cows and calves of Braja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vishambhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandi, Padimuni. All glories to the young cowherd maidens of Braja. All glories to Gopishwara Shiva, who resides in Vrindavan, in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmin friend, Madhumangal. All glories to Ramagat, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all the residents of Vrindavana. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtain the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shama. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastimes. All glories to the mellow of conjugal love, which is the most excellent of all rasas and is propagated in Braja by Sri Krishna in the form of the divine Padakiya Bhava. Remembering the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda's consort, Sri Janava Devi, this very fallen and lowly servant of Krishna sings the Sankirtan of the holy name. Jai Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Shri Ki Jai. Okay? So now we are going to continue with our Krishna book reading. And we're going to read about Putana today, the witch. Okay. So, Om Ganat Timirandasha Gananjana Shlakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. All right. Let's share the screen. And this, of course, is chapter 6 of Krishna book. So, just a little, well, I guess I'll add a little historical information in the middle of the reading here about Putana, who she was in her last life. Okay, we'll add that a little later. While Nanda Maharaj was returning home, he considered Vasudev's warning that there might be some disturbance in Gokula. Certainly the advice was friendly and not false, so Nanda thought there is some truth in it. Therefore, out of fear, he took shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is quite natural for a devotee in danger to think of Krishna, because he has no other shelter. When a child is in danger, he takes shelter of his mother or father. Similarly, a devotee is always under the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when he specifically sees some danger, he remembers the Lord very rapidly. Of course, Vasudeva knew that there was going to be trouble because he knew Kamsa was going to try to kill all the kids that would just been born in Vrindavan and all the neighboring villages. After consulting with his demoniac ministers, Kamsa instructed a witch named Putana, who knew the black art of killing small children by ghastly sinful methods, to kill all kinds of children in the cities, villages, and pasturing grounds. Such witches can play their black art only where there is no chanting or hearing of the holy name of Krishna. It is said that wherever the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done, even negligently, all bad elements, witches, ghosts, and dangerous calamities immediately disappear. And this is certainly true of the place where the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is done seriously, especially in Vrindavana, where the Supreme Lord was personally present. Therefore, the doubts of Nanda Maharaj were certainly based on affection for Krishna. Actually, there was no danger from the activities of Putana, despite her powers. Such witches are called Ke-Chavi, which means they can fly in the sky. This black art of witchcraft is still practiced by some women in the remote northwestern side of India. they can transfer themselves from one place to another on the branch of an uprooted tree. Putana knew this witchcraft, and therefore she is described in the Bhagavatam as Kechari. So, okay, let's talk about Putana's history here. In her past life, she was the sister of Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj, of course, was the descendant of Prahlad Maharaj. And Bali Maharaj became so powerful that he was able to take over the heavenly planets. And because he was able to take over the heavenly planets, then the mother of Indra, Aditi, and Indra got very upset. And Aditi went to her husband Kashyapa and said, we got to do something about this. And Kashyapa gave her this payovrata, means living basically on just drinking milk, austerity, and she did this payovrata. And as a result, she had as her son, who? Lord Vamanadev. And Lord Vamanadev, he was very attractive, as all incarnations, appearances of the Supreme Personality of God are. So Lord Vamanadev went to the sacrifice of Bali Maharaj to stop the sacrifice and to cheat Bali Maharaj, as we know. He took 3 steps of land. He's also called Trivikram. He takes 3 steps of land. First step, basically earth planet. Second step, all over the universe. Third step, on Bali Maharaj's head. So anyway, as he entered into the assembly of the sacrifice, Bali Maharaj's sister looked at him and said, isn't he cute? Oh my God, she felt so much maternal affection for him. I wish he was my son. So she was thinking like that, wishing. And of course she wished in the presence of Krishna. And Krishna is Lord Vamanadev. Well, Lord Vamanadev is Krishna. And then Krishna pulled his trickery, or Vamanadev, Lord Vama, pulled his trickery by cheating Bali Maharaj, by taking everything away from Bali Maharaj, when Bali Maharaj offered him 3 steps of land, which we described previously. And then she got angry. She was thinking, well, I like him as my son, but I'd like to kill him too. So it was sort of a mixed thing. So Krishna is so kind, as we're going to see in this story, that even when one approaches Krishna with mixed motives, even some of the mixed motives are pretty horrendous, like trying to kill Krishna. But because the affection is there, see, Kamsa didn't have that affection. It definitely wasn't a mixed motive with which he was approaching Krishna. It was a pure motive of envy, of fear, of violence. But with Putana, it's a mixed motive. She actually loved Krishna and hated Krishna. Love-hate relationship, as we say. So, therefore, Bali Maharaj's sister got her desire. She became Putana in the next life, and we're going to see how she got her desire fulfilled. This is very interesting. So Putana entered the county of Gokula, the residential quarter of Nanda Maharaj, without permission. Dressing herself just like a beautiful woman, she entered the house of Mother Yashoda. She could also, in addition to flying on uprooted trees, nowadays, of course, they use brooms. It's actually cheaper and easier to acquire than pulling trees out of the ground. But anyway, so, I mean, witches are actually there. I remember I was in Brazil. No, not Brazil. I was in Brazil also. But I was in Venezuela, and they had witch conventions, and the devotees would go to try to preach to the witches, and sometimes the witches could fly in the air or cast spells or try to cast spells on devotees. She appeared very beautiful with raised hips, nicely swollen breasts, earrings, and flowers in her hair. She looked especially beautiful on account of her thin waist. That's called sumajjhima, is the Sanskrit for that. It means good middle. She was glancing at everyone with very attractive looks and smiling face, and all the residents of Vrindavan were captivated. The innocent, cowherd women thought that she was the goddess of fortune appearing in Vrindavan with a lotus flower in her hand. It seemed to them that she had personally come to see Krishna, who was her husband. Because of her exquisite beauty, no one checked her movement, and therefore she freely entered the house of Nanda Maharaj. Putana, the killer of many, many children, found baby Krishna lying on a small bed, and she could at once perceive that the baby was hiding his unparalleled potencies. That means unlimited potencies, or potencies that are not equaled by anybody, which resembled fire covered by ashes. Putana thought, this child is so powerful that he can destroy the whole universe immediately. Phew! So the question is, why didn't she just run away? Because she was proud of her ability, and also because of her extreme emotions of hate and extreme emotions of maternal affection. So you have these both emotions that can cloud someone's understanding. And you see that also even in the material world, like a mother is very, very attached to her son or daughter, and even though the daughter or son is good for nothing, then still they consider them the most wonderful person. Anyway, what is that called? Proprietorship turns sand to gold, Prabhupada said. Proprietorship in this particular context means that someone who is connected physically, bodily with you is your son, your daughter, like that. And what was that other statement? Prabhupada said that the mother sees the blind child as having lotus eyes. Another statement, forgive me for this statement, is that the mother considers the excrement of the child to be like sandalwood pulp. Yuck. So this attachment is there. Attachment blinds people to reality. So Putana was simultaneously attached in both ways, attached and repulsed, or whatever, attached and hateful. Putana's understanding is very significant. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in everyone's heart. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that he gives one necessary intelligence, and he also causes one to forget. Putana was immediately aware that the child whom she was observing in the house of Nanda Maharaj was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. She was aware of it. And there was a small baby, that does not mean he was less powerful. The materialistic theory that God worship is anthropomorphic is not correct. So let me describe what that word anthropomorphic, morphic, part of that word means form. Anthro means like human beings. Like the study of the history of human beings is called anthropology. Anthropology is the study of human beings. So anthropomorphic means having bodies like human beings. So generally materialistic people say that we think that God looks like us because of us. And obviously if we had different color skin, or different color hair, or different color eyes, we would project that upon God. Or if we were an animal like a horse, we would think that God would look like a horse, if you had a talking horse. So anyway, a talking, coherent horse. So that's what anthropomorphic means. No living being can become God by undergoing meditation or austerities. God is always God. Krishna is a baby, is as complete as he is a full-fledged youth. The Mayavadi theory that holds that a living entity was formerly God but has now become overwhelmed by the influence of Maya. Therefore, Mayavadis say that presently he is not God, but when the influence of Maya is taken away, he will again become God. Good luck. Good luck. This theory, I'll tell you, it's not going to happen with me, that's for sure. This theory cannot be applied to the minute living entities. That's us. We're minute living entities. Living entities are minute parts and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are minute particles or sparks of the original fire, but these sparks can be covered by the influence of Maya, but the original fire, Krishna, cannot. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even from the beginning of his appearance in the house of Vasudeva and Devaki. And of course we know that when Krishna appeared in the house of Vasudeva and Devaki, what did he have? He had jewelry on. Impossible for a regular kid. He was jewel, earrings and all that stuff like that. And he appeared with 4 arms. Phew. Krishna showed the nature of a small baby and closed his eyes as if to avoid the face of Putana. This closing of the eyes is interpreted and studied in different ways by the devotees. Some say that Krishna closed his eyes because he did not like to see the face of Putana, who had killed so many children who would now come to kill him. That's one reason. That she's a demon, she killed so many children. I don't want to see her face. Just like you say to someone you're angry with, I don't want to see your face again. I'm sure some of you have said that. Others say that Putana hesitated to take the baby on her lap because something extraordinary was being dictated to her from within, and that in order to give her assurance, Krishna closed his eyes so that she would not be frightened. Because she understood that Krishna was God. And yet others interpret in this way. Krishna appeared in order to kill the demons and give protection to the devotees, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Prachanaya Satanam Vinashaya Cha Dushkritam. That's from 4th chapter, text 8. The first demon to be killed was a woman. According to Vedic rules, the killing of a woman, a Brahmin, cows, or a child is strictly forbidden. Krishna was obliged to kill the demon Putana because the killing of a woman is forbidden. According to Vedic Shastra, he could not help but close his eyes. Another interpretation is that Krishna closed his eyes because he simply took Putana to be his nurse. So there's many different reasons. Putana came to Krishna just to offer a breast for the Lord to suck. Krishna is so merciful that even though he knew Putana was there to kill him, he took her as his nurse or mother. That's very interesting. I was going to say something about this. Anyway, so there's different reasons that... I just also wanted to say that as far as Lord Ramchandra was concerned, Lord Ramchandra also basically, when he started his killing of the demons business, the first demon he killed was a lady, Tadaka. And it's quite interesting. So Krishna, Lord Ram, don't discriminate if someone's a demon. They're a demon, regardless of gender, regardless of race, regardless of national origin or anything like that. There are 7 kinds of mothers according to Vedic injunction. The real mother, the wife of the teacher, spiritual master, the wife of the king, the wife of Brahman, the cow, the nurse, and Mother Earth. Because Putana came to take Krishna on her lap and offer her breast milk to be sucked by him, she was accepted by Krishna as one of his mothers. That is considered to be another reason he closed his eyes. He had to kill a nurse or mother. But his killing of his mother or nurse was no different from his love for his real mother or his foster mother, Yashoda. We further understand from Vedic information that Putana was also treated as a mother and given the same facility as Yashoda. As Yashoda was given liberation from the material world, Putana was also given liberation. When the baby Krishna closed his eyes, Putana took him on her lap. She did not know that she was holding death personified. If a person mistakes a snake for a rope, he dies. Similarly, Putana had killed so many babies before meeting Krishna, and she mistook him to be like them, but now she was accepting the snake that would kill her immediately. Now that's very interesting because previously it was described that she understood she was dealing with God, and he was the most powerful. So, there's some interplay of illusion here, which is Yogamaya in this particular case, and also because of her intense nastiness, even though she had the knowledge, and you can see that with Kamsa too, even though Kamsa had the knowledge that God was going to kill him and he couldn't kill God, still, the anger, nastiness, envy is so strong that you act in such a way against your self-interest. And of course, there's that verse I often quote by Lord Rishabhadev, Nunam pramata kurite vikarma etindriya priti apranoti. When one takes the senses and sense enjoyment, and even the subtle senses and the anger and everything like that is very important, one becomes pramada, mad in the sense of neglecting his or her own self-interest. When Putana was taking baby Krishna on her lap, both Yashoda and Rohini were present, but because she was so beautifully dressed and showed motherly affection toward Krishna, they did not forbid her. They could not understand that she was a sword within a decorated case. Putana had smeared a very powerful poison on her breast, and immediately after taking the baby on her lap, she pushed her breastly nipple within his mouth. She was hoping that as soon as he would suck her breast, he would die. But baby Krishna very quickly took the nipple in anger. He sucked the milk poison along with the life air of the demon. In other words, Krishna simultaneously sucked the milk from her breast and killed her by sucking out her life. Whew. In other words, her life air entered into the transcendental body of Krishna. Very cool. Krishna is so merciful that because the demon Putana came to offer her breast milk to him, he fulfilled her desire and accepted her activity as motherly. And I explained before that was Bali Maharaj's sister in a previous life who actually wanted that. But to stop her from further nefarious activities, he immediately killed her. And because the demon was killed by Krishna, she got liberation. As Krishna pressed her breast extremely hard and sucked out her very breath, Putana fell down on the ground, spread her arms and legs, and cried, "Oh, child, leave me, leave me!" She was crying loudly and perspiring, and her whole body became wet. As she died screaming, there was a tremendous vibration on the earth and in the sky and the upper and lower planets, and in all directions, and people thought that thunderbolts were falling. Thus the nightmare of the Putana witch was over, and she assumed her real feature as a great demon. She opened her fierce mouth and spread her arms and legs all over. She fell exactly as Vritrasura did when struck by the thunderbolt of Indra. So Vritrasura was actually a devotee, and Indra killed him. Vritrasura had swallowed Indra. Indra came out and he cut open the neck of Vritrasura. And actually Vritrasura was in meditation when Indra killed him. And Indra had to take a reaction from that. The long hair on her head was scattered all over her body. Her fallen body extended up to 12 miles and smashed all the trees to pieces. And everyone was struck with wonder upon seeing this gigantic body. Her teeth appeared just like plows, and her nostrils appeared just like mountain caves. Her breasts appeared like small hills, and her hair was a vast reddish bush. Her eye sockets appeared like blind wells, and her two thighs appeared like two banks of a river. Her two hands appeared like two strongly constructed bridges, and her abdomen seemed like a dried-up lake. All the coward men and women became struck with awe and wonder upon seeing this, and the tumultuous sound of her falling shocked their brains and ears and made their hearts beat strongly. You can imagine. When the gopis saw little Krishna fearlessly playing on Putana's lap, they very quickly came and picked him up. Mother Yashoda, Rohini, and the other elder gopis, immediately performed the auspicious rituals by taking the tail of the cow and circumambulating his body. The child was completely washed with the urine of a cow, and the dust created by the hooves of the cows was thrown all over his body. This was all just to save little Krishna from future inauspicious accidents. This incident gives us a clear indication of how important the cow is to the family, society, and to living beings in general. The transcendental body of Krishna did not require any protection, but to instruct us on the importance of the cow, the Lord was smeared over with cow dung, washed with the urine of a cow, and sprinkled with the dust upraised by the walking of the cows. Let me just see something. Oh, let me just do something here. After this purificatory process, the gopis, headed by Mother Yashoda and Rohini, chanted the names of Vishnu to give Krishna's body full protection from all evil influences. They washed their hands and feet and sipped water 3 times, as is the custom before chanting mantras. They chanted as follows: My dear Krishna, may the Lord, who is known as Aja, that means unborn, protect your legs. May Lord Maniman protect your knees. May Lord Yagna protect your thighs. May Lord Achyuta protect your upper waist. May Lord Hayagriva protect your abdomen. May Lord Keshava protect your heart. May Lord Isha protect your chest. May Lord Surya protect your neck. May Lord Vishnu protect your arms. May Lord Urukrama protect your face. May Lord Ishvara protect your head. May Lord Chakradhara protect your front. May Lord Gadadhara protect your back. May Lord Madhusudana, who carries a bow in his hand, protect your right side. May Lord Ajana protect your left side. May Lord Udagaya with his conch shell protect you on all sides. May the personality of Godhead Upendra protect you from above. May Lord Tarksha, protect you on all sides. May Lord Haladara protect you from all sides. Taksha protect you on the ground. May Lord Haladara protect you from all sides. May the personality of Godhead known as Rishikesh protect all your senses. May Lord Narayana protect your life heirs. May the Lord of Shvetadvipa Narayana protect the core of your heart. May Lord Yogeshwara protect your mind. May Lord Prishnigarbha protect your intelligence. And may the Supreme Personality of Godhead protect your soul. While you are playing, may Lord Govinda protect you from all sides. And when you are sleeping, may Lord Madhava protect you from all danger. Many of these are direct names of Krishna. When you are walking, may the Lord of Vaikuntha protect you from falling down. When you are sitting, may Lord Narayan give you all protection. And while you are eating, may the Lord of all sacrifices give you all protection. Thus Mother Yashoda chanted different names of Vishnu to protect child Krishna's different bodily parts. Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced that she should protect her child from different kinds of evil spirits and ghosts, namely Dakinis, Yudutanis, Kushmandas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, and Vinayakas, along with witches like Kutara, Rivati, Jeshta, and Putana, as well as Matrakas, Unmadas. That's right. And similar other evil spirits who cause persons to forget their own existence and give trouble to the life heirs and senses. Sometimes they appear in dreams and cause much perturbation. Sometimes they appear as old women and suck the blood of small children. But no such ghosts and evil spirits can remain where there is chanting of the holy name of God. I think that's really an important point. When Srila Prabhupada was in John Lennon's estate, there was one of the groundskeepers who had a cottage there that was ghostly haunted, and Srila Prabhupada went there, and he had the devotees chant kirtan, and the ghosts were gone. Another time, Prabhupada was buying a building, and he wanted to have a good price, and that building was actually known to be ghostly haunted, so Prabhupada bought it at a very, very low price because nobody else would buy a ghostly haunted building, and Prabhupada got rid of the ghosts by chanting. Mother Yashoda was firmly convinced of the Vedic injunctions about the importance of the cows and the holy name of Vishnu. Therefore, she took all shelter in the cows in the name of Vishnu just to protect her child Krishna. She recited all the holy names of Vishnu so that he might save the child. Vedic culture has taken advantage of keeping cows and chanting the holy name of Vishnu since the beginning of history, and persons who are still following the Vedic ways, especially the householders, keep at least 12 cows and worship the deity of Lord Vishnu is installed in their house. Now, of course, that's in the village culture. We're not saying that every householder has to have a cow or 12 cows. Persons who are advancing in Krishna consciousness should take instruction from this pastime and also be very much interested in cows and in the holy name of Vishnu. Surya is Vishnu because of Surya Narayan. He's considered a manifestation of Lord Vishnu, Surya. The elder Gopis of Vrindavan were so absorbed in affection for Krishna that they wanted to save him, although there was no need to, for he had already protected himself. They could not understand that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead playing as a child. After performing the formalities to protect the child, Mother Yashoda took Krishna and let him suck her breast. When the child was protected by Vishnu mantra, Mother Yashoda felt that he was safe. In the meantime, all the cowherd band who had gone to Mathura to pay tax returned home, and were struck with wonder at seeing the gigantic dead body of Putana. Nanda Maharaj recalled the prophecy of Vasudeva and considered him a great sage and mystic yogi. Otherwise, how could he have foretold an incident that happened during his absence from Vrindavana? After this, all the residents of Braja cut the gigantic body of Putana into pieces and piled it up with wood for burning. When all the limbs of Putana's body were burning, the smoke emanating from the fire created a good aroma of aguru. This aroma was due to her being killed by Krishna. So Prabhupada explains this. Yeah, this means that the demon Putana was washed of all of her sinful activities and attained a celestial body. Here's an example of how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is all good. Putana came to kill Krishna, but because he sucked her milk, she was immediately purified and her dead body attained a transcendental quality. Her only business was to kill small children. She was only fond of blood. Ooh. But in spite of being envious of Krishna, she attained salvation because she gave her milk to him to drink. And I explained that in her last life, who she was, the sister of Bali Maharaj, who became attracted to Krishna in the form of Vamanadeva. So what can be said of those who were affectionate to Krishna in the relationship of mother, who with great love and affection always serve him, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the super soul of every living being, entity? It is concluded, therefore, that even a little energy expended in the service of the Lord gives one immense transcendental profit. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato vayat. That means even a little endeavor saves one from the most dangerous type of fear. And you see, there are examples in the Bhagavatam, especially the example of Dhruva Maharaj. Someone with mixed motives got the impure motive purified away, and the pure motive remained. Devotional service in Krishna consciousness is so sublime that even a little service rendered to Krishna, knowingly or unknowingly, gives one the greatest transcendental benefit. The system of worshipping Krishna by offering flowers from a tree is also beneficial for the living entity who is confined to the bodily existence of that tree. When flowers and fruits are offered to Krishna, that tree that bore them also receives much benefit indirectly. The archana process of worshipping procedure is therefore beneficial for everyone. Krishna is worshipable by great demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva, and Putana was so fortunate that the same Krishna played in her lap, or on her lap, as a little child. The lotus feet of Krishna, which are worshipped by great sages and devotees, were placed on the body of Putana. People worship Krishna and offer him food with great reverence and devotion, but automatically he sucked the milk from the body of Putana. Devotees therefore pray that if simply by offering something as an enemy Putana got so much benefit, then who can measure the benefit of worshipping Krishna in love and affection? Therefore only Krishna should be worshipped, for so much benefit awaits the worshipper. Although Putana was an evil spirit, she gained elevation just like the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is clear that the cows and the elder gopis who offered milk to Krishna were also elevated to the transcendental position. Krishna can offer anyone anything from liberation to anything materially conceivable. Therefore, there cannot be any doubt of the salvation of Putana, whose bodily milk was sucked by Krishna for such a long time. And how can there be any doubt about the salvation of the gopis who are so fond of Krishna? Undoubtedly, all the gopis, cowherd boys, cows, and everyone else who served Krishna in Vrindavan with love and affection were liberated from the miserable condition of material existence. When all the inhabitants of Vrindavan smelled the good aroma from the smoke of burning Putana, they inquired from each other, where is this good fragrance coming from? And while conversing, they came to understand it was the fumes of the burning Putana. They were very fond of Krishna, and as soon as they heard that the demon Putana had been killed by Krishna, they offered blessings to the little child out of affection. After the burning of Putana, Nanda Maharaj came home and immediately took up the child on his lap and began to smell his head. In this way, he was quite satisfied that his little child was saved from this great calamity. Srila Shukadev Goswami has given a blessing to all persons who hear the narration of the killing of Putana by Krishna. They will surely attain the favor of Govinda. So this, of course, is called a Shruti Pala, which happens at the end of many of the chapters of Bhagavatam and the Puranas like that. That means you get a benediction if you hear the narration, whatever the narration is. Here, of course, it's a Putana. And there's other narrations, unlimited narrations like the Ramayana and other unlimited narrations that you get certain benedictions. So we're all getting that benediction of attaining the favor of Govinda. Let's end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 6th chapter of Krishna, Putana killed. And tomorrow we will go on to chapter 7. That's pretty good timing today. So we have a few extra minutes for questions. And let's stop sharing and allow you all to unmute yourselves. Okay, Krishna Priya, you have a question.
Great. So when I was listening to this, I was thinking how the mothers, those who were like in the motherly role and the fatherly role, they were like always in anxiety, like stress. How are they gonna be protecting Krishna? And then we know in the Madhurya Rasa, the gopis are always in anxiety when Krishna's leaving. But then is it like we see like the coward boys, they're just there and having fun with Krishna, that in the different rasas, there's like different degrees of anxiety?
Yeah. The coward boys are in anxiety when they're separated from Krishna. And then, sometimes they might, it depends on their relationship. Sometimes they just think, Krishna will save us, so there's no problem. Other times they're in anxiety over Krishna's safety, like when Krishna jumped into the Kaliya lake to chastise Kaliya, everybody was in anxiety. Even the birds and everybody, all the residents of Vrindavan were in anxiety over the safety of Krishna. So that tends to be, in certain circumstances, but the parents, generally, they seem to have the most anxiety. And also the gopis are in anxiety over Krishna's feet being pierced with the thorns.
Exactly.
So, anxiety seems to be part and parcel of being in the spiritual world.
Yeah, it just seems to be that way. There's so much anxiety. And then I was just reflecting, because like we read these things, but I mean, can you imagine like being a parent and then you come, like Nanda Maharaj comes and then there's this like gigantic body that's been there. I mean, it's just like unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of anxiety. Okay, very good. That's a nice question. A lot of anxiety here, a lot of anxiety there, but there it is purifying. So Jagat, you have a question.
Yes, Trevor's here, and he wants to know whether Putana achieved a spiritual body in Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha.
In Goloka Vrindavan. Yeah, she achieved a spiritual body in Goloka Vrindavan because that's where she left, and of course doesn't mean she was the mother, but she had a motherly role like the other gopis in Vrindavan did. It's a nice question. She went to Vrindavan because she left her body in Vrindavan. She got killed by Krishna in Vrindavan, and she was looking at Krishna, the beautiful form of Krishna's original spiritual form. So she was actually Yam Yam Bapi Smaran Bhavan Yajite Anti Kalevaram. Good question. So, Anu, you have a question. You got to unmute yourself.
Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj Ji, Dandavat Pranam.
Haribol.
Haribol, Srila Prabhupada Ji ki jai. Maharaj Ji, question. So Kansa was the same way. Trinavrata were the same way. They were all envy of Krishna. And Bhagavad Gita says if you're envy of Krishna, obviously there is no, you cannot attain unless you get a spiritual master. So why particularly Putana got such a blessing from Krishna and not Kansa or not Trinavrata or anybody else?
She got that blessing, as I mentioned before, because her motives were mixed. She had love of Krishna because in the last life, I think you were probably there when I told the story. In her last life, she was the sister of Bali Maharaj, and she was very much attracted. She was actually very much attracted in a motherly way. And when one is in Vrindavan, here's the question of the spiritual master. When one is in Vrindavan, Krishna is directly your spiritual master. So for the Braja, she became a Brajavasi.
That's
And she
true.
was from Mathura. Mathura, Vrindavan. Krishna is directly the spiritual master of the residents of Mathura, Vrindavan. Anyways, and in any case, Krishna arranged it because she wanted to be the mother of Krishna. Whereas Kamsa's motive was not mixed in that particular way.
Mm-hmm.
He had no affection in
That's
any
true.
shape, form
Mm-hmm.
for Krishna. And that's completely different. You can't compare the two. Whereas Putana actually wanted, she was attracted to him. And that attraction to Krishna sort of clouded her judgment when she understood that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, okay?
One other question, Maharaji, if I can ask.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe just sometime I do not understand. We say in the material world, too much attachment of everything is not good. So you want to do the needful and keep chanting or keep thinking about Krishna. So
Yeah.
when we talk about Mother Yashoda or Nand Maharaj, directly they are thinking of their son, but their son is the God. So they are though thinking of their son, not the God though.
That's right.
So then
That's right.
how come this works that they are 24/7
Because they wanted Krishna as their son. See, if you read the history, the previously there's they were Prishni and Sutapa, and they had performed austerities for many years to get God as their son. They wanted to have God as their son, and then they became Aditi and Kashyapa in the next life, and the next life Vasudeva and Devaki. Of course, you're talking about Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. They're eternally the parents of Krishna, and so Vasudeva and Devaki also. So anyway, so their connection with Krishna, extreme motherly and fatherly attachment, was based upon their love for Krishna eternally. It's life after life. It's not just like in this one pastime.
Mhm.
Okay?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna ji.
Howdy both. Thank you, Anna. So we have time for another question. Oh, here. Wait, there's some text questions here. Hold on a second. I didn't notice the text. Someone thought that Vaikuntha's no anxiety. Not all demons got Goloka Vrindavan. That's right. Most got Sayuja Mukti. However, Putana got topmost liberation destination. Yes, most demons just got to merge. But Putana was a special case. Putana did not become Serpanaka. It wasn't Putana who became Serpanaka. That's not the story. Putana was not Serpanaka. Serpanaka became Kubja. Okay. Oh, okay. Someone said a question was answered. Kubja. Putana didn't become Kubja. Serpanaka became Kubja. Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay. So, yeah, because Serpanaka had mixed motives. She was it's a very similar story, similar type of dynamic. That Serpanaka was in love with Ram, but she was angry with Ram. Two things. And Lakshman too did cut off parts of her body. So Serpanaka got her desire fulfilled when she became Kubja. She got to associate with Lord Ram in Mathura with Krishna, in the form of Krishna. So, all right, Sumukha, you had a question. Ask your question.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna.
Hello.
Gurudev, I'm, Ved Vyas wrote the scriptures, and he wrote Mahabharata, he wrote the 17 Puranas, and then he didn't get peace in mind. Then his Guru Narad came and said he should write Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking now the Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. So he only wrote Bhagavad Gita,
What's part
but
of
still
Mahabharata?
he
Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata. Yeah.
yes. So he wrote Mahabharata. That means he's already written Bhagavad Gita already. So how come he
Yes.
didn't get? How did he get peace? Uh, then he
Why?
but he
Because the Bhagavad Gita is a very small part of the Mahabharata. A very, very small part of Mahabharata. And people can get confused. If you just take the totality, like it says in the Mahabharata, Tarko Pratishtha Shuti Na Vibhina, that the Vedic literatures, especially the Mahabharata, have something for everyone. Dealing with the three modes of nature, dealing with different romantic stories and everything like that. So even though there is Krishna there, not only in the Bhagavad Gita portion, but in the other portions where like Krishna saves Draupadi and other things like that, there's so many other things going on that one will get confused and think that the goal of human life is to achieve heavenly happiness or something like that, material happiness. So even though, yes, the Bhagavad Gita is there, and yes, there is so much other information about devotional service. I mean, like I said, look at Draupadi, how she was saved by Krishna. Look how Krishna saved the Pandavas in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Still, one can get very confused. There's a lot of other stuff there. In fact, the majority is other things in the Mahabharata, so it can be very confusing. Just like the Vedas are very confusing. Krishna says to Arjuna, Trigunya Vishaya Veda Nish Trigunya Bhavarjuna Nirdwandvo Nityasatpashto Niryogakshema Amavan. That the Vedas are mainly meant for those who are in the modes of nature. And Krishna says to Arjuna, you should rise above the modes of nature and be established in the self. So, I mean, there's like in the Rig Veda, there's information about worshiping Vishnu, but there's a heck of a lot more information about worshiping demigods. The Rig Veda has Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Pada Pachanti Yatsurya, that all the demigods, they're looking to Vishnu. That's what the Rig Veda says. However, that's good, but there's a lot of other stuff. It's good, but for people on different levels who are not ready to take up devotional service. So same thing with Mahabharata. Okay, good question. Okay, so who was Serpanaka in her previous life? I do not know. You'll have to. I mean, she was obviously in a demon family. She was, but I know Serpanaka became, not Serpanaka, Serpanaka. It's actually Serpanaka. She actually became Kubja. You have Supranaka, Serpanaka. Supernaka means super nails. Serpanaka means long curved nails, like witches. Okay, so on that happy note, we are 2 days away from Janmashtami, and tomorrow we'll see you all. Same time, hopefully, same station, if we're all still here and this world is still going on if we haven't been hit by solar flares yet, which are supposed to hit tomorrow, and the internet is still functioning tomorrow, then we will hopefully see everybody tomorrow. Thank you all very much. All glory is to His divine grace.